Hello and welcome to Film du Siècle, the film and media channel focused on all things 90s and 2000s. This week, Seb and Olly will be discussing Bedazzled.
Hello and welcome back to Film du Siècle, the film and media discussion channel where we talk about all things 1990s to 2000s. And We're kicking off something a bit different this month. We're going to be doing
Frasier February.
Frasier February, yes, where we look at all the brilliant movies that Brendan Fraser did.
Yeah, well, not all of them.
No.
Probably 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I like Brendan Fraser and I wish he got to do more films because he is good in things.
Yeah, quite good.
Yeah, quite cool. So today we're kicking things off with Bedazzled, which was made in 97, I think?
Yep. This was one of my suggestions.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this movie, although basically what I know about it is Brendan Fraser is the main character, he makes wishes, and Elizabeth Hurley appears as some sort of seductress devil character, which I think typecast her as seductress devil characters for quite a while.
Perhaps. I don't...
She had that reputation. I don't think she earned it in real life, to my knowledge, but...
I don't know the career of Elizabeth Hurley very well, to be honest.
Neither do I. It's just that whenever I hear the name, it makes me think of Jorge Garcia, because he played Hurley in Lost.
It's the last day of my 20s at time of recording, by the way.
Yes, it is. So we're going to ring in the year with Ollie and good...
What did I tell you about aging, body? Cut it out.
Yeah, it's aging against your consent.
Yeah.
But, Ollie, what's your memories of this movie?
Well, I used to love it as a kid, but it's been so long since I watched it. I remember Elizabeth Hurley telling Brendan Fraser that she's the devil.
No, that wasn't even in the script. That was just in between takes.
Yeah, and they just decided to roll with it. It's like, no.
You're what? Yeah, I'd just like to take the body of Elizabeth Hurley so that I can pursue an acting career.
He sort of has a new life with each wish. And I can't remember whether Brendan Fraser just has incredible range or there were different actors playing him, but I thought it was all him at the time. Mind you, I was a kid.
Okay, we want you to play Brendan Fraser. Oh, what, you mean a Brendan Fraser type? No, we want you to literally play the actor Brendan Fraser. Wait, isn't Brendan Fraser in this movie? Why can't he play himself?
What was that, Looney Tunes Back in Action?
No, he played himself in Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh, wait, no. For some reason, I'm thinking of Last Action Hero and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, actually, he didn't play himself. There was this whole joke where...
He was his stunt double.
That's
where
right.
My confusion was.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
We should also do Last Action Hero, by the way. Sometime.
We should do. I love that movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
But I have no fond memories of this movie at all. I think I may have remembered seeing the DVD about. I may have remembered seeing trailers for it. I remember seeing trailers for Little Nicky around that time.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but he's got quite a bit of range in this movie, if it is all him, which I seem to remember it is.
So this is his one serious role that he would want to be remembered for?
No. It is very much a comedy role, but it's sort of several comedy roles. It will make sense.
Okay, well, as long as it's not like The Master of Disguise, which was, I think, Dana Carvey's masterpiece.
Not seen it, couldn't tell you.
Apparently it's not very funny at all, and he's nothing without Michael Myers.
Well, maybe this is that, and I just have nostalgia for it. We'll find out.
Yeah, let's find out. I'm very curious to see this Brendan Fraser movie, which I haven't seen before, so let's get into it.
Yeah, we'll see after the credits roll.
Indeed. And we are back in the room, having watched Bedazzled. So, Ollie, did you like the movie?
I think you'd better answer that question first, since it was your first time seeing it. What did you think?
Yeah, I did like it. It was a lot stranger than I was expecting it to be. It was a bit all over the place, but I do like the way it ended. It could have had a really bad ending, and I'm glad that it didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I remember it being. I can confirm now it was Brendan Fraser in all of those roles he had. That man has range.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think only someone like Brendan Fraser could have pulled that off. Because if they got, I don't know, someone like Dana Carvey or someone like Mike Myers to do it, I think it just would have been too irritating
Yeah,
to be good.
Brendan Fraser is just inherently very likable, I think. So
Yeah, I think he gets away with it because he's not necessarily an exclusively comedic actor, but at the same time, he doesn't take himself too serious. So
yeah,
when he dresses up as like a 7 foot
it's like
tall
Paul Rudd in
man,
that way. If you know
yeah,
what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. This could have been a lot worse if they picked a different lead actor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the beginning, when he's being really annoying, and you asked me, are we supposed to like him? And I said, no, I think we're just supposed to understand why no one else does.
Yeah, exactly, because...
And he's, like, clearly desperate for a social life, and they can tell, and it's a turn-off, that kind of thing.
Exactly, it's very relatable. You can't blame people for not liking him. Having said that, it is strangely rewarding at the end when he does stand up to like the 4 people in the office who are always not tormenting him, just wanting to get away from him.
Yeah, yeah. And, well, I suppose he realises he doesn't need to be their friend.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure if the movie as a whole works, but it works well enough.
Yeah. Well, his arc, if he has one, seems to be realising that he doesn't need what he thinks he wants.
Yes, and that's what I liked. I'm kind of glad that he didn't get the girl, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, he did and he didn't, you know what I mean?
Well, he got up the guts to ask her out, which is something he never would have done at the beginning.
Yeah. And that was good. That was enough. That was enough, and I liked that.
And she was taken, and he was like, okay, cool. And then it turns out his new neighbour is someone he hits it off with.
I mean, that's life. That's good. I like that it went down that direction because he did the whole thing of wishing that she'd have a happy life, and they could have done something really stupid where like they did go out and they did hit it off, and that just wouldn't have felt right because it sort of feels contrary to his selfless wish, and also
counterproductive to the theme as well. Like, he's trying to take shortcuts, and life isn't what you expect.
No.
And shortcuts don't really work, would be the 2 main messages I get from this.
Well, yeah, because that's all he wants, you know, like, his wishes become more sophisticated and more specific over time, but at the very same time, they're all very superficial things about himself.
Because Liz Hurley keeps monkeys pawing them.
Yeah, but, you know, it's the law of omission, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, actually, I think the ending works for another reason, because I think about halfway through, I pointed out that we've only actually seen the love interest character. Is it Alison?
Yep, Alison.
I want to say Alison, yeah. We only really see Alison the once in the real world in that one bar scene for about 10 seconds. They don't know each other. They have no prior history or chemistry.
There is that other time when they invade her privacy and they're intangible.
I don't count that because they have no interactions.
Ah, right.
You know what I mean? The only time they interact is that once, and then that once at the end, so them getting together would have felt very out of the blue, and it's not really a romantic story in that regards, is it?
No, not really.
Like, it masquerades as one, but it isn't one, and so I think the decision at the end was very much correct, and overall, I think if you look at this whole movie from as a whole, it's quite well made in that regard.
Yeah. It's not really a love story, it's an acceptance story.
Yeah, and I like that, and it's more about him working on himself than him getting this girl to like him, because none of the wishes can do that.
I mean, they can, but there's always some horrible consequence to it.
Yeah.
Several times involving his crotch.
Yeah, I point this out a few times, and I said this when we were watching it. This movie has a bizarre obsession with Brendan Fraser's crotch.
Yeah. I mean,
because there's the bit at the beginning where the devil's playing snooker and the ball goes uncomfortably close to his balls. There's a few others where
Alison nearly steps on him.
Yeah, nearly steps on his balls. What else?
Would have done if she hadn't gone through him in that scene.
That's true, yeah, his balls were saved by that.
Oh no, she missed them, but had she hit them, it wouldn't have hurt.
No, exactly. It would have just gone straight through his testicles, to be honest, Ollie. What else? There was also the weird towel scene. I knew something bad was going to happen to that towel. It just did not look like it was fastened securely enough to the body of Brendan Fraser to last that scene.
It was Chekhov's towel.
It was Chekhov's crotch, because I kept expecting horrible things to... Because there was a weird running theme that bad things happened to this man's crotch.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when there was the Lincoln one, I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen to his crotch this time? And I expected his crotch to explode or something like that, or drop off. I don't know. But it was a weird running theme, and I'm glad that they sort of didn't do that for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I think enough is enough when it comes to Brendan Fraser's...
Rule of 3, really.
Crotch. Yeah, exactly. Enough is enough when it comes to Brendan Fraser's crotch.
Yeah.
There's too much punishment for this movie to be comfortable.
Yeah. There was that one twist that hasn't aged super well, where he gets everything he wants, but he doesn't get the girl because the devil turned him gay for that.
That doesn't make sense to me, because he's still attracted to the girl. He just says that he's gay because the man in his bed says that he's gay.
And then he kisses her and then confirms it like, yeah, okay.
That's not how sexuality works.
I know, but it's how... is it how they thought it worked in the 90s? I don't remember. I was too young.
know. I feel like they knew what they wanted to do, but they couldn't think of a clever way to do it, because I liked the twist, it's just the execution was really, really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he mind in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that him being gay was a deal breaker on the wish was, has maybe not aged as well as it could have.
No! I don't think it's because the character's prejudiced, I just think it's because the screenwriters have absolutely no idea what they were doing with that joke. It was very weird. It was strange. And yeah, this movie does some very odd jokes.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't mind, but it feels very much all over the place, because at times it's very straight face. And then at other times, they're just doing daft things like making him a Colombian drug lord for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, he has to be married to Alison and rich and powerful. Those were his only specifications.
I was thinking drug dealer at the time, because I knew there would be a twist each time, because it's set up that there's going to be.
Yeah. Monkey's Paw, the movie.
Yeah, I kind of like how this is a bit of a buddy movie as well.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is that they sort of develop a bit of a rapport over time, you know, the devil and Brendan Fraser. And
Yeah.
I do think they have good on-screen chemistry. Those scenes were really good. But at the same time, the ending bit that was really sentimental with the soft music where it's like, oh, you're my best friend, that still didn't feel earned. Because she was still basically trying to screw him over the whole time. And
yeah, and, well, she was the best friend he had, and that's horrifying.
Exactly. I mean, that's what the takeaway is, because... I mean, you know, just because she does it with a smile and a bit of kindness, that still makes, like...
I mean, in a way, it's worse.
Exactly, in a way, it's worse. It's like that, you know, that meme, you've changed my life, I literally something. It's like that, you changed my life, I literally was trying to con you out of your soul.
Yeah. Well, all's well that ends well, I suppose.
Yeah, and I like the whole thing, I like the whole thing about there being no intrinsic evil, just sort of what you do with it, and
although,
that was good.
What you were saying earlier, I would totally see a film called The Devil and Brendan Fraser.
I would as well.
But that's basically what this is.
Yeah. Also, the snake from the poster didn't turn up in the movie.
Yeah, although she did have a pile of apples on her desk when she was a teacher. That was a Garden of Eden reference.
I mean, that was both biblical and a teacher reference, because apparently teachers somehow became associated with apples.
Yeah, you bring an apple for teachers. No one ever brought an apple for any of my teachers.
Oh yeah, that's because they were all bastards.
Yeah.
But no, the only time I saw that
is in America?
I don't know. I remember it being in Indiana Jones. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think it was in an episode of Californication where You've got David Duchovny eating the apple when there's like a bunch of people in his class. And those are the only 2 times I remember that trope ever being used, even though it's a trope I'm well aware of.
Yeah. Cultural osmosis, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, this movie felt like a more competent version of Click in a way.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
There was something very Adam Sandler about it, especially with the odd skits, like where he's the president or where he's a basketball player.
Ironically, the Up Next movie on Prime after we watched it was Little Nicky.
Yeah, which is weird since I mentioned Little Nicky earlier. Oh, this is a 2000 movie, by the way, not a 1997 movie, so I think that Little Nicky came out in 1999. They feel of the same time, don't they?
Yeah. Well, it's smack in the middle of our time period then.
There's also a lot of cuckoldry jokes with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. 2 wishes in a row end with that kind of, well, not so much. Well, the first one was cuckoldry. I think the second one was just emasculation.
Yeah. Again, that was really weird. Where he was on the beach and he was overly sensitive, and yeah that was strange.
I remember finding that funnier as a kid, though.
Yeah, yeah. There's something very 12-year-old would find this funny about this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have some hit moments. You heard me laugh out loud a few times, but I don't know. I just feel like the humour hasn't aged that well, as in terms of we've just got funnier stuff now.
Yeah,
like, some of it's bad taste, but not enough of it for that to be the main problem. I think the main problem is that the movie isn't as funny as it thinks it is.
Yeah, and the Abraham Lincoln wish was kind of weak.
That was they could have done so much with that. Like,
yeah, he wished to be the president of the United States, so she makes him Abraham Lincoln right before he goes to see the play where he gets shot.
I think I thought that because I was going to say, oh, they're going to make him Nixon or something in the middle of Watergate or something like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't far off. They did make him a president in an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But they could have done so much more with that scene because it was 2 minutes long. He was Abraham Lincoln for 2 minutes, and then he wasn't anymore. When he dropped all his stuff onto the audience and was annoying them, and when he shouted out loud, sorry, I thought that the joke they were going to do is the reason why John Wilkes Booth shoots him is because he keeps getting incredibly irritated by him, and he does it out of frustration. I thought that was the joke they were leading up to, but no, just all of a sudden he was there, he says his Tyrannus line and then shoots him, and it's not really a punchline, is it? It's just a thing that happened.
Although it would have been more funny if it happened the way you said. Just like,
shut up! Exactly! It feels like such a wasted opportunity to make a good joke, and they didn't take it. I mean, I did think that there's something intrinsically funny about seeing Brendan Fraser dressed as Lincoln, not even looking remotely like him.
Yeah.
I want to see some sort of edit of the Daniel Day-Lewis Lincoln, except he's replaced with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg with Brendan Fraser as Lincoln.
I'm Abraham Lincoln.
And that's the tagline of the movie. That famous historical quote of Abraham Lincoln, I'm Abraham Lincoln.
I'm sure he said it at some point.
He would have had to, otherwise no one would know who he is. Also, the whole trope about the devil owning a bar was very much like the show Lucifer, where the devil also owns a bar and is British.
Yeah. Well, this was kind of a proto-Lucifer.
It is, isn't it? A Prucifer.
Yeah.
Although the McDonald's thing, I don't know, maybe I have seen this movie before, like 10 years ago, I've forgotten about it, but I saw that coming somehow. Like, I knew that he'd order something trivial for his first wish, and I had a feeling it would be McDonald's, and maybe I have seen at least that scene of a movie before, but it made me miss the old McDonald's logos that used to be on their packaging.
Yeah.
Somehow, McDonald's tasted better when it had the old logos, and I don't know how, because I don't think that's how food works.
No, that is indeed not how food works, although it is perfectly...
I liked the stripes. Do you remember the stripes that used to be inside the packet of the fries?
Yeah, I do remember.
Why did they get rid of the stripes? I liked the stripes. They made the fries taste better.
No,
it's scientifically proven.
Although, it is feasible to prefer the same drink from a can rather than a bottle.
Yes, because you get the taste of the aluminium, Ollie. You get the aluminium-y taste.
It's not just that. I think the formula is slightly different for the cans than it is for the bottles, so it is a slightly different drink. I remember reading that somewhere, but I can't confirm it, so take that well salted.
It's nice. You're making me hungry now. But you know the shape of the glasses for beers and stuff? Apparently, you are meant to drink a Guinness from a Guinness glass because the shape of the glass is meant to optimise the flavour of it.
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting, this is something...
No, I know. I once played through the video game Catherine on a friend of ours' recommendation, and every night in that game you can have trivia about different types of alcohol. And I can't remember it, but I learned that you should never towel dry a beer glass. You should always turn it upside down and air dry it.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
I've done bar work before, I know that.
Yeah, and just all kinds of interesting little factoids like that. Weird game, though, that.
I love the word factoid. It makes facts more interesting. Ollie, how well did the film achieve its goals? And what were they?
Well, that's actually a difficult question to answer, because the thing I'd forgotten about this movie that I didn't know originally but then did was that it's a remake of an earlier film. And the reason I know that is because when I was at school, I used to have physiotherapy a lot. And I was telling the physiotherapist about this film. I'd talk about films and games I liked.
Fair enough.
And my physiotherapist at the time watched Bedazzled and said that that's nothing like you described. It's a film from the 70s. So I think there might be a new one.
There is. I think that the original one had a male character as the devil. I'm looking at it now, 1967. With Raquel Welch in, interestingly. She was a bit of a sex icon at the time, and of course Liz Hurley, so there's that connection. Yeah. Okay, what the hell?
So, without...
Okay, no, I'm reading the wishes of the original. Stanley, I assume, who was the main character, first wishes to be more articulate. Okay, that's the same. George Briggett turns him into a talkative, I assume that's the devil, and pretentious intellectual with a strong Welsh accent. Margaret becomes an equally pretentious character who enthusiastically agrees with all of Stanley's beliefs. Stanley stresses the importance of breaking free from one's social and moral constraints. When Stanley makes his move, however, she is mortified and starts screaming rape.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the remake's an improvement based on the synopsis.
Yeah. Without having seen the original, I can't tell you how it holds up as a remake.
Yeah, I always think that it's better to judge things for their qualities as they are, because...
Standing on its own, I think it's a reasonable, sort of tongue-in-cheek comedy, but not always tongue-in-cheek. It's
a good Faustian story, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does that well. It does its genre well.
Yeah. Also, the bit at the end where the devil's playing chess with that guy who Elliot talked to in jail, does that imply that that guy is God? Because I was always confused about that.
Well, yeah, I kind of expected him to be some sort of guardian angel. Because, I mean, this might sound really dumb, but for some reason, when you meet a black man in a prison in a movie, they always turn out to be some sort of guardian angel if they're particularly articulate.
I see. Yeah, that is...
I'm just going on the codes and conventions. I don't think it's right either.
Is that a trope? I haven't seen that many prison movies.
Kind of. There's always these guardian angel characters, and quite often they're black. I mean, that's good, but it's a very oddly specific trope.
Yeah, I suppose it would be. I think it...
I mean, I think that you could be an articulate character without being a literal demigod. I think they should do more of that in the future.
Yeah. I think it does its job as a comedy. I mean, I found it screamingly funny as a kid.
Yeah.
And the age rating is 12. Maybe you'd have to be that old to fully appreciate all the jokes.
I feel like so. Like, it probably would have been a fun date night movie back in the day, although all the penis jokes might not have been great for that, but I don't know.
That sounded really condescending. I didn't mean it to.
No, I don't disagree. So, if you're guilty of being condescending, so am I.
Yeah. I think some of the jokes are targeted to that age bracket.
Yeah, there was something very Adam Sandler about that. And again, I love lowbrow Adam Sandler movies, so this isn't me looking down on anybody.
I'm surprised we haven't covered any yet, but we undoubtedly
We're
will.
going to have a Sandler Saturday or something like that. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
I don't know. We'll find an excuse. Not that we need
The Summer
one
of
right now.
Sandler. We could do the Summer of Sandler.
Seems a bit much for an entire summer.
Yeah, bloody hell, don't we know it? Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't get anyone more obnoxious to play the main character, I will say that.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser just has this quality to him that is, well, it's just likable.
Yeah, you just...
He's very instantly sympathetic.
Yeah, which is just as well, considering he was a bit annoying in the beginning. Because that would have been hard to pull off with a different actor playing the character like that.
Yeah, true.
Although, for some reason, they wrote in a scene where he literally tears off his own facial hair.
Yeah, they did.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I liked the bit where he realised that he could speak Spanish. That was amusing.
Yeah. He says in Spanish, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish." And then it turns out he speaks Russian too, and he does it unconsciously, so that might mean he can speak any language as long as he's speaking to someone else who speaks it.
And apparently you can unconsciously fancy men as well, and not realise.
Yeah,
until somebody mentions it. You're gay. Oh, I am, aren't I? I didn't realise it.
Warp into that life from another, so maybe,
Yeah, it gets some leeway through being a fantasy, but still... That's not how it works.
Yeah, true.
That's not how attraction works.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, that's the one that's probably aged the worst.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not really malicious in any way. It's just a weird choice. I kind of liked the twist, just not the execution.
Yeah.
Okay, so the film... Yeah, I think it achieved its goals. It would have been watchable at the time, and I mean, it's nothing amazing or groundbreaking, but does Bedazzled have to be amazing or groundbreaking?
No, I think it holds up okay today.
Yeah. It's not worse, not the best.
Not so much.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, I think the weakest part of the movie was the middle.
Yeah.
In the context of having watched the whole movie, I kind of liked the beginning now. I didn't really at the time because I just felt like they weren't setting up enough about the character and we didn't really know enough about him going into the whole situation or his life. But having watched the whole thing, I guess we kind of did. I liked the ending because it did all the right things. I don't think it could have got a better ending for this movie considering the first 3/4 of it. It's just the middle felt very odd. I mean, some of it was funny and some of it just didn't land.
Well, they had to come up with 6 different gag realities, didn't they?
And the gag realities are not created equal.
Yeah.
Some of them are good and some of them are a bit shit. Yeah.
I think my favourite one was either the drug lord or... Well, it's probably the drug lord. Although I did find it funny when he's talking to the devil on his computer. No one else can see there's anything on the screen.
Yeah, that was funny. Because I always like the... scenes like that where the character can see something that everyone else can't and it makes him look insane. I like that trope in comedies. Always.
It reminds me of going to see Kingsman 2 with you, and he's sitting down to dinner with his in-law and he's watching his friend through his glasses and he goes, "Put that down!"
I loved that scene! I mean, you know what tickles me with a movie. Oh, remember that time when we went to see... It was one of the later Johnny English movies. There was one scene I was in hysterics and I inhaled ice cream.
Yeah, that was...
And choked on it. That's how much I was laughing.
That was near the beginning.
It was the scene where he was wearing the VR goggles and he started walking about and beating people up.
Really, was it?
Yeah, that's the scene that had me laughing that hard.
We should do Johnny English at some point. That's it.
Yeah, that comes in our time period, doesn't it? At least the first one does.
Yeah.
So, Ollie, did the movie exceed your expectations?
No, not really. In fact, I remember it... Well, as I say, some parts of it haven't really aged well, and I remember it being a bit funnier. I still enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be alright, and it was alright, so I suppose it was what I expected it to be.
Yeah. Although...
I'd watch it again, just not avidly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, Brendan Fraser goes a long way to making this film good.
Yeah, I think that the cast made this good. I liked Elizabeth Hurley. She was good in this.
Yeah. You said maybe she was typecast as a sort of a seductive devil figure after this. I don't know the career of Elizabeth Hurley at all.
Well, let's have a look at it.
But she certainly does that well here.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look at her. It's not discography when you're an actor, is it? What am I on about? Filmography. Yeah, she was in. She was Vanessa Kensington in International Man of Mystery. That's the role I remember her for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What else was she in? Yeah, maybe because she played a Bond girl style character. That's where I'm getting that whole thing from. She wasn't in that many movies after this, actually. For someone who's quite well known, she's not been in that many movies. She's been in a lot of television. I don't remember that. She was apparently in Sharp.
Huh.
You know, the show about Sean Bean being in the Times of Napoleon.
Yeah.
She was a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race UK.
I see.
Yeah. And she was in The Royals.
Cool.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. I did not know all these things about her. Oh, she was in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which I've never actually seen.
Nor have I.
Maybe I should one of these days. Maybe I should.
Maybe.
Is there an element in the film that particularly appeals?
It's funny. It's got Brendan Fraser in it.
I'd say the ending.
Yeah, the ending's good. I guess a lot of people would answer Liz Hurley to that. This is really... Well, I didn't know she was in Austin Powers, but other than that, this is really the only film I've seen her in. She was really good in it.
I think those are her two biggest credits, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the ending because I feel like they could have screwed up and done a bad ending, but I think they wrapped up the story really well.
Yeah, it was...
Completed character arcs. Also, the chemistry between the two leads.
Yeah.
Not so much for love interest and him.
No, although I think you could argue that's kind of...
intentional. Yeah, because the whole thing is they're not meant to be, and he discovers that.
Yeah.
Although I will say it's weird how that sort of attraction feels very out of the blue in its own setup, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh, we were talking about the scene where he peeks in on her on the shower. That was very out of character and weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Liz Hurley encourages him to, but still?
Yeah, it is a bit...
Yeah, that was a weird scene.
But I mean, I know she can't see them. She also doesn't notice her diary floating around.
Yeah, and there's just something about the locker room scene as well that makes me feel really uncomfortable. Maybe it's just the long dread of waiting for something horrible to happen to his towel.
Yeah. Chekhov's towel.
Chekhov's towel. Chekhov's crotch.
Yep.
I was thinking of just going to see if there's any examples of this trope and searching for Chekhov's crotch, but that might yield some unexpected results. Yeah, the humour's a bit cringe. Like a lot of the time it's intentional, but other times I think it's a bit too much.
Isn't it?
Yeah, because we all see those movies where it's intentionally cringe, but I think it's a bit too much at times.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and a lot of the payoffs don't really feel earned. Like I said, the whole friendship, the chemistry was good, but the whole revelation that she's actually a good friend to him felt very out of place, considering she's not really.
Yeah,
she's just doing a job, really.
Yeah, and screwing him over as she does it.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I like you, I really do." We don't really see much evidence of that, do we?
If you want to argue she's just doing a job, she's already got his soul. She could give him what he wants without monkey's paw in it, and
exactly.
her job would still be done. She's just having fun at that point.
It just comes across very insincere when she's like, "Well, I like you, I really do, you're a nice person, but why do you keep doing these things?"
Yeah.
Although there was an interesting idea halfway through that they never really touched on again, where he's talking to her and she's really upset that he's unhappy with the way she's doing things, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm not very good at this job, but I try my best, I'm trying to make you happy," and...
I think it implies that those were just crocodile tears to get him to say sorry.
That's exactly what I thought, but I thought, well, actually, wouldn't that be more interesting if the devil was just really incompetent?
Yeah. Or
But again, it would not match up with the beginning where she's wowing him with like the Molotov cocktail appearing out of nowhere or transforming her clothes all the time. That was a really good scene. I like the theme of the scene. I like how it feels. I like the soundtrack. I like the bit where they're going to the bar. All of that felt very right. I like the scene where they're going to McDonald's. Everything about that felt right.
and then like he goes to the nightclub and they give him one of the cookies that his grandma used to bake.
It's just nice things like that. I like the moments of this movie.
Yeah.
Probably more than the movie itself. I like the moments of it.
Yeah. It's a whole maybe less than the sum of its parts, but some parts were really good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's basically like when you buy a Bionicle set just because it's got an interesting mask.
Or one of those, now that's what I call music CDs, because it's got one or two songs you like on.
Yeah, just pirate it like the rest of us, you baby.
Yeah, I think it holds up okay.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
Not as well as it could do, not as badly as it could have either.
It's just kind of... It's average, but likeable enough to justify its continued existence, I suppose.
Yeah, I still like it.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah,
So, was the film received appropriately at the time, do you think?
I'm not sure. The Amazon Prime page of it gives it 4.5 stars on 561 ratings and IMDb 6.0.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a strange disparity.
Yeah,
Then again, I suppose you'd only really watch it on Amazon if you were sure that you already liked it or would.
I suppose. So, what does it say on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, first of all, I'll see how well it did financially.
Okay.
Okay, this is interesting. It had a budget of 48 million. I'd say about half of that budget went into the introductory scene with the devil riding a Lamborghini and transforming and stuff.
Yeah, and the drug lord Wish.
And the drug lord Wish with the helicopter. That was funny. But the box office was 90 million.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it's like a few movies we've covered. It made a profit, but not a massive one.
Yeah, it did all right.
Yeah, it did well enough. Well enough.
This was on TV a lot on Sky Movies.
It's very much a TV movie.
Yeah, so maybe the bulk of its money was made in home release.
Yeah, okay. Alright, well this is interesting. 50% on the tomato meter,
Yeah.
but 42% audience score.
Huh.
I don't know, I think that's a bit unfair. It's definitely a middling movie, but I wouldn't say it was below average.
Yeah. What does the consensus say?
Though it has its funny moments, this remake is essentially a one-joke movie with too many flat spots.
I mean, that's not unfair, but...
Well, it wasn't a one-joke movie, it was a two-joke movie. There were the crotch jokes and there were the cuckoldry jokes. You know, those are two completely different things. And there were the gay jokes for some reason. There were 3 jokes I counted.
Yeah.
There were 3 of them. Yeah, I think that it deserves a bit more respect. Not a lot more respect, but I feel like they could have given Brendan Fraser his dues at least, and...
Yeah, he definitely does a lot to keep it afloat.
Oh yeah, well he carried this movie like Sisyphus carrying the rock up the hill. It's futile, but, you know, we wouldn't have an impressive analogy without it.
No.
Well, so, how would you like to sum up, Ollie?
I don't know.
Would you like to sum up?
This was a film I liked a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
I can see how it might not have been liked as well by other people, but I have some nostalgia for it, so I still enjoyed myself. It is a decently funny Brendan Fraser comedy. Like, it shows off his range in a way that I don't think gets mentioned in that review there.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point, because he does play these several different characters of varying quality.
Yeah, each wish changes him fundamentally as a person, and sometimes into like a completely different character, and he plays all of them.
Yeah, he plays all of them. He gives them all a go. They all have their own distinct personalities. To be honest, the only one I didn't find irritating or tacky in some way was the suave one.
Yeah, and that was basically just him, but with a bigger vocabulary.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's just because I'm inclined to like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
I think what you said was fair. What I'd probably add is there's nothing in this movie that would make me dislike it for any reason. So I can't bring myself to not like it, but only really a few memorable enough moments or ideas, mostly that being that the ending was well executed, that would endear this movie to me. So I like it, I just don't love it. It was alright.
Yeah. It was okay, it's not great.
Yeah, and I feel like this is going to be an emerging theme with this channel because we find a lot of movies. It's very hard for me to dislike a movie, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it has to be doing something very wrong for me to, like...
Yeah, like it
give
has
it
to
the
be
attention
egregious or actually harmful in some way.
Yeah.
And this movie definitely isn't any of those things. It's just a bit tone deaf at times, I guess, but not in a malicious way, so you can't really hate it for that. Yeah, it was okay, and I'm glad that Brendan Fraser got to do this. I'm glad that Elizabeth Hurley got to do this, and it's a shame that we never got to see the both of them in a role together again, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's not too late, is it?
Because, well,
Perhaps we
no,
will.
I don't think it is, but I feel like they could have done a good action-adventure movie together if they had the right scripts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to do Looney Tunes Back in Action at some point. That kind of thing, you know, nothing... Or maybe something a bit mummy-ish.
Yeah.
Something a bit mummy-ish would have worked for them, I think.
I mean, Brendan Fraser, like, The Mummy could have launched him into a more action-heavy career. I think he was kind of pigeonholed more as a comedy guy.
Yeah, and he does do the comedy well.
Yeah.
I feel like the crossover point would have been Looney Tunes Back in Action, actually, because the whole joke is lampshaded that he is the stunt double of an action actor, being Brendan Fraser. And this was sort of when he stopped doing those kinds of roles and started doing sillier stuff or nothing at all, sadly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who I think deserves better in general.
Yeah.
So by extension, I suppose this movie does. Not by a lot, but by a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay.
It is okay. We recommend if you got 2 hours free, check it out. No harm in it.
It's worth watching once, just to see if you like it.
So, what kind of crazy shenanigans do we have in store next week?
Well, it's Frasier February. So,
Yeah, but no confusion there. You know, we're not going to start ticking out Kelsey Grammer at anything.
I think...
with his witticisms and his brother Niles.
The Mummy returns?
The Mummy does indeed return next week, and we will be covering this momentous event.
Yes.
Yeah, I finally got to watch the first one in its entirety for our review, and I'm glad we did. And also the sequel seems to be held in high esteem, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's been years since I saw it, so I'm also looking forward to it.
Well, we'll see you next week then. Thank you for joining us and checking out Bedazzled with us.
Yeah, smash that like button and subscribe if you like I'm Not Your Boss, and we'll see you next week.
Great, see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.